everyone. Welcome. We are One Mountain, Many Paths, where our mission is what Barbara Marx Hubbard and Dr. Mark Goffney call the planetary awakening in love through a unique self-symphony. Together, we declare that the last day of the old face of evolution is honored as the first day of the new face of creation. I am Christina Tehel, the co-executive producer, along with Krista Josefa, and we are delighted to be with each and every one of you today. We welcome you to week 241 of our live broadcast. Use the Zoom or Facebook chat function to say hi, to let us know where you're from, and to resonate the Dharma. On Zoom, check that your chat settings say all panelists and attendees and not just all panelists. In One Mountain, Many Paths, we are connected, we are whole, and we're expressions of the entire process of creation. We are activating a new humanity and we are awakening as a new species, Homo Amor, the fulfillment of Homo sapiens. We weave together the knowledge and wisdom from religion, spirituality, and science to articulate a global ethos for a global civilization. Welcome home, everyone. We are strengthening an evolutionary we space. Yesterday, what a revolutionary dance party we had. Do join us next month on June 26th for our next dance party. You absolutely do not want to miss them. Today, we will gather with Claire and Shahat after One Mountain, Many Paths for outrageous love practice. So we will give you instructions for that at the end of the gathering today. Starting next week, after One Mountain, or during One Mountain, Many Paths, sorry about that, Mark and Barbara both will explore need, desire, and evolution as they play in cosmos and in your life. The most important things that you need to know to be alive. If you want to deepen your relationships in One Mountain, Many Paths, do email Krista, whose email is in the chat box here on Zoom right now. Like our Facebook page at facebook.com/One Mountain, Many Paths to get inspired by the great clips and member activities posting there each week. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at One Mountain, Many Paths and share our great clips with your communities. We are streaming live on YouTube and on Facebook right now. If you are on one of those platforms listening, you can also join us on Zoom. If you are on Zoom, do copy the live links from the Zoom chat box and share on your favorite social media channels. With that, I give you what to expect today. We begin with a first principles recap from last week. Afterwards, Dr. Mark sets our intention. Then David resonates the evolutionary love code. We move into prayer, then evolutionary sermon with Dr. Mark, and then Krista will invite us to commit our outrageous acts of love and to contribute our gifts to the revolution. At the end, we will post the Zoom link to the outrageous love practice session with Claire and Shahat, and we hope everyone will join in. Mark wrote what he called evolutionary love codes. Mark and Barbara studied the codes together, often comparing them with Barbara's own 52 codes for conscious self-evolution. These codes grow out of their radical commitment over 100 collective years crystallizing the new story of humanity, quote, evolving the course of consciousness and culture, which is the source code of love, unquote. Each communion is a standalone, and every week's communion builds on the week before. One Mountain, Many Paths is radically committed to telling the new universe story. Now for our recap from last week. The only way to be sane is to love madly. Only mad love will take us home. We live in a world of outrageous pain. There's chaos, disorder, and unimaginable suffering. Our worlds are conflated with broken narratives in which the universe is implicitly viewed as somehow empty, a reductive materialist position. We extract from planet Earth what took billions of years to create. We're threatened with at least 10 major existential risks that could cause the death of humanity. How do we respond? How do we be sane? We gather the evidence. We create space in which we feel each other. We link hands around the globe. We are audacious and we speak truth to power. We tell a new story grounded in the very depth structures of reality. The nature of reality is that reality is an intimate universe. And outrageous love courses through cosmos, holding it together as this force of allurement, the gravitational field, the electromagnetic field, the precise balance between the strong and the weak nuclear force, eros. The universe is not empty. The universe is full, filled with meaning and value. For instance, at least 100 billion neurons, more than the stars in the galaxy, are in non-local connection, talking to each other in our brains with a grace and elegance that's exponentially beyond any supercomputer we have. Sanity is to know our true identity and to know where we are, to actually think we are only a separate self, dissociated and separate from cosmos, that the world is a vast stretch of meaningless and cosmic emptiness. That's insanity. It violates all the information we have. When we have an experience of someone being madly in love with us, it is not limited to us and that person. Being madly in love participates in the quality of cosmos that knows us personally and uniquely. The intrinsic structure and nature of reality is that divinity is madly in love with us. Madly means we are in, we are focused, we care insanely. Our unique self is the irreducible uniqueness of us that reality is madly obsessed with. It's the realization of enlightenment, where we actually realize cosmos is personal, that God is our mad lover, that we are mad lovers of God. We're intoxicated because we live in our bodies, suffused with the depth realization of the most subtle and speculative minds throughout history, that we live in an intimate universe, that the universe lives in us, and that we are welcome in the cosmos. We can do this. We can know. We can trust. With that, I invite us to more deeply enter into the holy and sacred space of One Mountain, Many Paths, and I turn my word to you, beloved Dr. Mark Goffman.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Christina Tehel. Beautiful, right? We're recapitulating. Welcome, everyone. And welcome, as we've been talking about the last 2 weeks, and we're going to have our final week and talking about welcome and just to deepen this welcome. But here's the first process. And I'm going to do a very short setting of intention, and then we're going to turn and we're going to go into our practice of Amor, the chant we do every week. We're then going to read, David's going to resonate for us the code, the evolutionary love code. We're going to pray. We're going to talk about what prayer means. Then we're going to dive into this deep sense of joy and welcome, but not in a casual sense, not in a local sense. We're here, our intention is we're here as revolutionaries. But literally, not as if. You know, I'm privileged now to have my son with me. And both of my sons are commanders of commandos in special forces in the Israeli army. And it's been a very complicated, right, as you can imagine, couple of weeks. And I promise to, and next week we'll have a conversation, perhaps right after One Mountain, right, about Israel and about how we look at Israel and the Israel, right, Arab nexus and what's going on. I lived with an Arab family in Israel in the same house, right, in Jaffa, right, in the Arab part of Tel Aviv. So I'm speaking firsthand. My daughter was the lawyer for a bunch of years for Israel's ruling party. As I said, my sons are commanders of commandos. And so I'm deeply, deeply involved in the fabric of the country. And to actually understand what's going on there on the ground is absolutely critical. And obviously, there's, you know, so many beautiful people on and in the Arab world and so many beautiful people in the Israeli world, but that's an insufficient way to talk about it. Obviously, all loss of life is devastating, and even one child who dies, right, is a billion, trillion times too many. But that's not sufficient to approach it, right? This issue is related to the larger set of issues in the world. So I promised the last couple of weeks we're going to talk about that, and we're going to do that next week. That's just an answer to a lot of people who have made that request. So that's one. But two is, let's set our intention here. All right, we are literally revolutionaries, and like my son is a commando, and in special forces, we are quite literally commandos in special forces. We are a unique self-symphony of commandos in special forces, committed to the evolution of love, committed to being this Da Vinci moment in this time between worlds. Da Vinci in the Renaissance, as the old political structures are falling apart, the old social structures are falling apart, as plague ravages Europe. What emerges to respond to the massive suffering is a new story. And that new story is the story of modernity. And as we've said here many times, the challenge of the Black Death and the challenge of the breakdown of all the structures pales in comparison to the challenge that we face today of exponential tech, which drives the planet, its movement governed not by policy or appropriate politics, but its movement governed by rivalrous conflict and win-lose metrics. No one's voting on anything. No one voted on the internet. No one's voting on nanotech. No one's voting on biotech. Does everyone understand that? No one's voting on infotech. No one's voting on machine intelligence. All the things, just follow with me, friends, all the things that are changing the shape of the planet. And that, on the one hand, have unimaginable promise. On the other hand, portend unbearable dystopia, which would signal not the death of humanity, right, There are about 10 different factors that signal potential existential risk between the next 100 and 500 years. But they would signal, right, these new technologies signal the potential death of our humanity, in which we have a world of upgraded algorithms and downgraded human beings. We become bots on the web, and there's no genuine choice. There's no genuine decision making. Interiority doesn't matter at all. We literally become objects, or as Nadella said, the CEO of Microsoft, we become first-class objects on the web. And reality is moving slowly, subtly, but insidiously there very quickly. We're not going to talk about that now. We're going to talk about something else, which is the setting of our intention in response to that. The only way to respond to that is to actually articulate a story, right? A new story of what it means to be a human being, because that story is broken down. Because, for example, the Techplex is animated by about 10,000 data scientists who are virtually all, one way or the other, postmodern. They've stepped out of value, as if you could step out of value. They think they've stepped out of the Tao. The Tao meaning the intrinsic fullness of reality, the intrinsic value of reality, as if you could step out of the Tao. And actually the decisions being made, the narratives of identity, the narratives of community, the narratives of power, all rooted in a larger universe story, those narratives, those broken narratives, those reductive narratives, those narratives which disqualify the universe itself, which disqualify human beings, which view human beings as literally being nothing more than algorithms. My colleague, my dear colleague, Yuval Harari, has the audacity to write in his book Homo Deus, which is a description of what this techplex might emerge as, that it's now a given in the sciences that organisms are algorithms. That's actually not true. Try reading a little Whitehead, my friend, right? Try reading Damasio, right? And Antonio Damasio, my friend, right? Who refutes that entirely. Try reading new work by Stuart Kaufman, my friend. Not true. But in this best-selling book, 12 million copies, right, read by the intelligentsia around the world, organisms are algorithms, and we're no more than algorithms. We're first-class objects on the web. We need to revision, right, what it means to be a human being. Marshall McLuhan said, right, correctly, we make our tools and our tools make us. Right, the techplex, the way it's being formed now, and the data science that's being downloaded, right, and the coding of the techplex, right, is a coding which is bringing us towards the death of our humanity in dystopian scenarios that are unimaginable in their pain. And they're fast upon us within decades, at least the first dimensions of them. It's a big deal. And the only voice of the future is our voice. What a privilege. What poignancy. What power, what pain. Right? Wow. And so what we have to do is we have got to come together and literally tell my friends a new story. That's what we're here to do. We're here to literally be commandos. We are elite forces. We are special forces together. We're a band of outrageous lovers. And we are at this time poised between utopia and dystopia. And we're here to tell the new story. Now, starting next week, this is super exciting. I'm going to do a series with Barbara, a 3-week series with Barbara Marx Hubbard. And of course, Barbara, as those of you who don't know Barbara passed in 2019. Right? Barbara's part in the series was recorded, of course, before she passed. And right, we have an enormous evidence on the continuity of consciousness, and we know it in our bodies, and that's a different conversation we'll have. Barbara's with us. And we're going to do a 3-part series on need, desire, and evolution. Right? Why they matter in the cosmos and why they're the single most important dimensions of your life and my life and our life. And how understanding need, desire, and evolution, re-understanding them, change the source code of our lives and the source code of the cosmos. And that's what we're here to do, to evolve the source code. We're ontological activists participating in the evolution of consciousness, which is the evolution of culture, which is the evolution of love, which is the evolution of the very source code of reality itself. There could be no greater privilege. There could be no greater joy. There could be no greater delight. And oh my God, it's so serious, friends. but at the highest levels of consciousness, radical seriousness and radical joy and radical laughter meet. And so we step into this revolutionary movement, which is what One Mountain, Many Paths is, with radical laughter and joy and delight. We laugh out of one side of our mouths, we cry out of the other side. Oh my God. Now I want to just do one more thing. It's 1:20, and I'm watching the time very carefully because we have a fantastic workshop which is going to lead us towards the festival by our inestimable Shahat and Claire, right, who are just pillars in our community and wondrous beings and leaders. And, at literally the top of the hour, anyone who'd like to go, and they'll announce then how to switch links, and they're going to be doing a fantastic short workshop and just also inviting everyone to the festival. A word about the festival. We've made a big decision. We make it with full joy and a heavy heart, right? Because of complexities in COVID and, issues that, the castle we're supposed to be at, well, because of COVID doesn't have fully correct internet, and all sorts of questions about variants and strains and financial issues that wrap in it. We've made the decision that many people have made this summer, which is, and we're making it with complete joy, which is that we're going to have the festival full on all the way online this summer. So the festival is going to be full on all the way online. It's going to be fantastic. We're going to make a point of, because Shad and Claire have been working on it all year, that there will be, of course, the appropriate exchange of, value. Each of us who come, we're going to contribute something to it. It's going to be for 7 days, full power, right? This is one of our key places where we go inside together and we chart the next steps, the leading edge. So it's a big deal. And we'll talk more about it next week. Actually, Barbara Marx Hubbard created a new set of materials that have never been released, which she left me before she passed. We're going to be releasing that as a course, and it's 7 parts. And so we're going to share with everyone, that course, and I'm going to then respond and do 7 parts that partner with what Barbara did. It's kind of the next step in the evolution of love, the next step in conscious evolution. We'll be announcing the formal titles. They're already online, of course, but we'll talk about all this next week and every week till we come. So that's a big time coming up. Super excited, super sad personally not to be together in person. It's a sadness of all of us all over the world. We want to touch each other and feel each other and embrace each other, and we will. And our plan, our vision, right, our complete commitment is next summer, a year from the summer, we blow it out, all of us, in person, overflowing castle in Belgium, all the way. Okay, so yay. So I'm going to do one more thing with permission. How's everybody doing? Okay, I want to do one more thing. And this is also really important in terms of who we are in One Mountain. Okay, so is that okay? I want to do one more thing. I just want to ask permission from everyone. It's going to take me about maybe 3 minutes, but it's like really important. So the New York Times ran a little piece about how during COVID, right, when people come on and do an interview, so let's say, for example, Jeff Bezos, came on and did an interview, so they look at people's bookshelves behind them to see what's in their bookshelves, right? So it turned out Jeff Bezos had like 2 books, right? And one of them was Yuval Harari's Homo Sapiens, which I believe in terms of the message it gives, right? Its equation of Libya's Gaddafi and its brutality and universal human rights, right? My friend Yuval says are both just fictions. No essential distinction between them. I think that book, right, had one of the most chilling effects on the moral universe, on the erotic universe, on the intimate universe than any other book did. And Harari's, fundamentally wrong about, 10 of his major claims. He's way out of his field and making kind of popular assertions. And it's persuasive. It's done well. It's his lectures. And he's a great guy to have over for dinner, right? It's not in any way a personal attack on Yuval. Like, blessings, let's have dinner and drink wine, man, for sure. But the message is chilling. And that was, of course, right, what, Jeff Bezos, the Amazon CEO, had on his bookshelf behind him. So your bookshelf behind you matters. Now, some of my friends have told me I've got to clean off the bookshelf, right? I should take off, you notice all the books that are laying on top of books, right? It's got to look like very proper. So I'm going to tell you a little secret. Anyone who's got a proper bookcase is not in a relationship to their bookcase. Okay? So if you really got a bookshelf, you want it to be filled with stuff everywhere because it's alive, right? It's delighted, it's overflowing. And we've lost our relationship to reading, right? We've lost our relationship to actually diving deep. And the experience of being on the web is attention interruptus. Imagine you're making love and you get interrupted 10 times. To read a book is to make love. It's to enter into the depth of that person's world and to actually, right, merge with them, feel them, right, entertain, interact, and the author feels you and you actually feel the author. And you do an actual almost intellectual mysticism. That's how you read. Then when you're done, you then step out and then you see, okay, what can I hold from there? What becomes part of me? It's a completely different act than scrolling around the web, right? Holding a book, right? And going into your own inward space of meaning making, right? And interacting with that book in a deep and profound way. That's actually a critical faculty. So I'm just going to take a second with your permission, just to give you a sense, right? You know what's in the library, okay? So just really quickly. Okay, White Fragility, the worst book ever written, right? Basically, the basic claim that, everybody's already a racist. Not true. Everyone's not already a racist, right? It's a very problematic book. I want to do a week, right, on this book, right? Racism is a real problem, but this book makes suggestions that are very, very damaging. So I've been reading this very carefully. I want to do a week on this, okay? Unbelievably important book, Antonio Damasio, right? One of the best neuroscientists in the world today. You should take a look at, what part of this book should you look at? Right, part 2, right? Starts on page, 68, where he talks about why organisms are not algorithms, right? Which is Harari's assumption that it's true. Conscious Leadership, my friend John Mackey, who's been our board chair for a bunch of years. Fantastic book from the chair of Whole Foods. Recommended for everyone, okay? What else do we got here? Okay, C.S. Lewis. C.S. Lewis is fantastic. Whether you agree with his Christian stuff or not, he's a brilliant thinker, insightful, particularly about, the medieval world. This is a fantastic book on, right, 7 or 8 major thinkers, medieval thinkers on the nature of love, right? You got to have a bookshelf, right? Living Apocalypse, right? Robert J. Lifton, one of the first major writers on existential risk 30 years ago, who's one of the most important people you got to read in order to understand where we are today and what's the experience, right, of existential risk. Cutting edge thinker in kind of every possible way. All right, what's this? Okay. The Master and the Emissary. This is the two left and right brain. Fantastic book by Ian McGilchrist, right? Fantastic book. It's a little thick, a little hard to read, but he's actually talking about why the right and left brain influence in the ways they do. Okay? Return to Eros. That's an important book. That's a fantastic book. Okay? Right? Really important. Right? And then we could go through, right? We could go through the entire bookshelf. Right? The entire bookshelf. This is Ervin Laszlo. Ervin Laszlo is working with us on one key project. He's a great cosmologist and really working on reshaping the story of evolution. Right? The point is you got to have a bookshelf. Right? You got to have a bookshelf and you've got to be in relationship to reading is unbelievably important. Be in relationship to reading, right? Books are your lovers. They're your beloveds, right? And you don't want to have just 2 books on a clean bookshelf back there, right? Engage books, engage essays, read slowly, step in, right? One of the things we need to be as outrageous lovers, we need to be reading. And I want to invite everyone, if I can, just super gently if I can, right? Get Return to Eros, right? Read it carefully. Give us your feedback. We're taking the next steps in writing. Get Unique Self, right? Get Barbara's book, Emergence, and Christina Amelman will be talking about the books every week, right? Get a book called Self, which is really, really important, right? That I wrote a bunch of years ago, right? Comparing my thought and my friend Andrew Cohen's and why it's so problematic to go in the way of classical enlightenment. Right? Get Loving Your Way to Enlightenment shot that you and I did together, right? But read, okay? So bookshelves matter, okay, everybody? Is that okay, everybody? We're into bookshelves? We're good? Yay. Fantastic. Fantastic. Like, it's big. It's big. And make your bookshelf overflow. Yay. Okay. So, take us inside, right, to Amor. Right? Amor comes from a book called the Song of Solomon, right, by Solomon himself, the Wisdom of Solomon. And the core notion, if you read it carefully, people read it, it's very easy to miss. You got to read carefully, drop in. The core idea, the most important idea, is the notion that its insides are aligned with love. Toho ratsufa hava. Now, it's very easy to miss what that means, but what it means at the core is what we call outrageous love, or what we call evolutionary love, or we call eros. Right? That is to say, the very quality of cosmos is moving towards deeper and deeper contact, greater and greater wholeness. That's where cosmos wants to go. There's an inherent ceaseless creativity to cosmos, which is always seeking and desiring ever deeper contact and ever greater wholeness. That's the Eros formula. And that's what the Song of Solomon's about. And of course, molecular biology and mitosis and meiosis and, right, all sorts of dimensions of the modern sciences have amplified this exponentially. But the core is that realization that my love story is not merely personal. It's not just me and you or me and myself. That me and you, my yearning for love, my yearning for Eros, participates in the deepest yearning of cosmos itself. That my desire, my deepest heart's desire, when I clarify my deepest heart's desire, it's God's desire, it's Goddess's desire. It's the desire of evolution itself. I am evolution. That's the idea. I am evolution. Right? My desire is evolution's desire. And reality needs my desire, and it needs my unique desire. And it needs me to clarify my desire and to know my desire. And to have few desires. Don't get tossed to and fro, but have great ones. Have few desires, but have great ones. So we're going to go into Amor, and Jacqueline's going to do Amor this week. And sometimes Amor is this dramatic 5 people singing, and sometimes it's one person just almost speaking, sharing Amor from the heart. Right? The Amors that we share are not about, right, as you know, my voice is always off, right? Our Amors are not about, right, the exact right singing tenor. It's about actually making my heart naked in my yearning. So my yearning participates in the yearning of cosmos. Let's take us inside to Amor.
Amor, 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 amor. Amor, 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 amor.
Right? That is what a naked heart looks like. Right? I mean, such a deep gratitude to you, Lady J. right, for holding that for all of us. Amor. And I want to invite anyone who wants to make an amor, to record an amor. You can record it by yourself, with a friend, with musical accompaniment, right? Rob, as you did, and as Jamie, you did, right? Or, right, just naked heart. So, Krista, if maybe you can put in the chat box your email, so contact Krista and make an amor. And so we can have literally from thousands of people amors from all over the world and create a hall of amor. Its insides are lined with love. We turn to David, beautiful David, to resonate the code. Thank you so much. Take us inside, David, and just blow our hearts open with welcome. Oh my God.
Thank you, Dr. Mark. Thank you, everyone. So good to be here. So friends, let's find that space of amor within us. That amor, that outrageous love that brought us together, that brought us here, right? You and I have found that we were called to be here for some reason. So as I resonate the code, let's listen to how that shows up in our lives. I just pasted it in the chat box. There's one question we need to answer. Are we welcome in the universe? Is there a welcome home sign posted above our lives? When we say thank you, does the universe say you're welcome? That's the only question we ever need to ask. And the answer is yes. All acting out comes from the part of me that doesn't feel welcome. The name of mother is the name of welcome. The experience of mother is the experience of welcome. Mother is the infinity of intimacy that knows your name. Mother is outrageous love. Mother is the amorous cosmos. Mother is cosmoerotic universe, the universe : a love story. Mother is the intimate universe. And mother is your mother. And you are the mother. But you cannot be welcomed unless you are needed. The triumph of welcome is the absolute knowing that reality needs your service. And with that, I turn my word back to you, beloved Dr. Mark.
Thank you, David. That code is everything, right? And we're going to talk a little bit about that code today. And I want to make just an announcement. We have, Krista, can you tell me when it is? What time it is? Right? Our board meeting on this coming Tuesday. Do you have any idea what time it is? So whatever time it is, right? I think it's around 2 o'clock, right? EST time. I want to do just a special one-time thing. And I actually had an exchange with Brother Emil this morning, right, about the board, which was funny. I wasn't quite tracking it. So I want to do a special one-time thing. I want to open up this board meeting, right, to One Mountain, right, and just invite people, right, to participate and to eavesdrop and to listen in, right? And in the board meeting, what we generally do is we do a conversation, right, in which we go deeply into the Dharma and we try and expand it. So I'm going to ask you to be silent participants, right, to listen in. You'll be like eavesdropping. We'll send you an invitation. So the board members will be kind of participating in a conversation, right, afterwards, after we talk about it. We're actually going to talk about this topic of welcome. Okay, so it's deeply aligned, and we'll send you a special invite, right, to the board meeting on Tuesday. Okay, so a special one-time invite, right, to this kind of eavesdropping, right, on that conversation. It's a really, really important conversation, and I just spontaneously realized we're not going to get to as much of it as we wanted to today. So let's break the rules and let's invite, because we're going to talk about it on Tuesday. We'll invite you all on Tuesday. Okay, fantastic. Now, we're going to pray. Now, let's hold this really carefully, because I want to do 2 steps here. Okay, I'm going to do 2 pointing out instructions, and we're going to go into prayer. Then we're going to say a couple of words after prayer. Then we're going to talk about, right, what it means to commit outrageous acts of love. So let's do 2 big pointing out instructions. We're going to end exactly on time today. 2 big pointing out instructions. Okay, here's the first one. And this is if you came just for this, so thank you for coming. Thank you for being with us. And Krista's going to share with you at the end how to join, how to make this your revolution and to step up. And we've got a big kind of community meeting, I think the second week in June. But just if you just came for these next 2 pointing out instructions, if you really get them, they change everything. And Barbara was radically excited about the second one. When it first kind of clarified to me, I shared it with her, and she told me it changed her life completely and how she understood the divine. And the first one just clarified itself fully 2 weeks ago, right? In a session with a dear friend of mine, Kathy. Okay, just clarified. So here we go. Okay, and this is going to take us into prayer. From prayer, we're going to say a couple of words on welcome, and then we're going to go to Krista, who's going to take us home. Okay. I really want to get this right with you. This is such a big deal, and I'm a little bit trembling because it's so important. You know, I shared this with Zach, right? Who's been studying with me for 10 years. My dear friend, who's also now co-president of the center, and just blew his heart open. So here we go. How do you approach yourself? The voices in your head. And all of us live with the voices in our head more than we live with anyone else. We're in dialogue, voice dialogue, if you will, with the voices in our head. Now, psychology has done very good work in trying to clarify the voices and given them names. And my dear colleague, friend, Professor Richard Schwartz has created an entire system called internal family therapy, right? The internal family systems, right? IFS, in which you access the family of voices inside you and you speak to them. And Hal and Sidra Stone created Voice Dialogue, which is a similar process. And you access the voices of the protector and the controller and the wounded child and the innocent one. And you talk about those voices. And that's important. But what all those voices share in common is that what they're thinking about almost all of the time is you. So psychology says, okay, let's clarify those voices. Let's listen to them. Let's be in dialogue with them. Let's distinguish between them. Let's make sure they don't hijack your life. Let's know which ones are actually coming from your highest self and which ones need to be engaged and transformed. And that's really important. Enlightenment teaching says all of those voices are problematic. Psychology also recognizes the problematic, and psychology deals with it by making them the unconscious conscious. Be aware of them, be in dialogue with them. And that's good at the leading edge of psychology. It's necessary, but it's insufficient. Enlightenment says, classical Eastern Enlightenment and many modes of Western Enlightenment says, no, that's monkey mind. Those are confusing voices. Just like psychology, Enlightenment agrees, they're always thinking about you. You're always thinking about yourself all the time. You got to move beyond those voices and stop thinking about yourself, right? You got to actually step out and feel the wider world. And that's really important. Psychology is making an incredibly important contribution, and classical mystical enlightenment is making an incredibly important contribution. We need both of them, but both are insufficient. So stay close now. And this is the realization of unique self. As separate self, that's the first of the 5 selves, separate self, you should do the psychology work. That's really important. As true self, now what true self means is the singular that has no plural, your complete identity with consciousness. As true self, you move beyond your story. You live in no story. You're one with consciousness. As separate self, you clarify your story. But actually, you've got to move even beyond true self. True self is the personal beyond the impersonal. True self is consciousness plus personal. And that unique self, what you realize is, now stay close, is that in fact, dear friends, you're always thinking about you. But that's not a problem. It's not a pathology, as psychology so often terms it. It's not a confusion, as Enlightenment theory, mystical teaching suggests. Actually, you're always thinking about yourself because God's always thinking about you. Your obsession with yourself is God, Goddess's obsession with you. The reason you're utterly focused and always thinking about you is because divinity, the cosmos in her personal face, is always screaming, you, I'm madly in love with you. I'm not just in love with you, I'm madly in love with you. That's what Rumi writes about all the time correctly. And it's what the Kashmir Shaivite mystics understand correctly. And it's what the interior scientists of Hebrew wisdom understand in their deepest realization. Divinity, the personal face of essence, of all of essence, knows your name, the infinity of intimacy, is madly in love with you and is thinking about you all the time. So you're thinking about yourself all the time. This is a pointing out instruction. So don't think about it, just feel it directly. You're thinking about yourself all the time is God thinking about you all the time. And loneliness disappears. Your self-obsession is the self-obsession of self with a capital S, thinking about yourself, because your self participates in the self of cosmos. That's what it means, thou art that. But not just you as consciousness, but your holy and your broken hallelujah. Everything about you, every detail, right? It doesn't matter what you heard. There's a blaze of light in every word, the holy and the broken hallelujah. That's what Leonard Cohen's singing. It's what he understands. Now, second pointing out instruction, just like you hear me talking, and let's hear it as if we're hearing it for the first time. I've shared this pointing out instruction many, many times. And as I shared just a few minutes ago, when Barbara first heard it, it blew her heart open. And I do this pointing out instruction with myself every day. Right? So it's not that we have information, we want wisdom. Right? The tree of knowledge needs to be connected to the tree of life. We've become all about information. Information is the splitting. It's reenacting the fall in the Garden of Eden. We split the tree of knowledge from the tree of life. The tree of knowledge and the tree of life are one. So as we listen now together, we listen with the ears of an outrageous, aflame heart. We listen for wisdom, not information. Can you hear me talking? Yes, you can. Shad and Claire, you're about to give your seminar in about 14 minutes. Can you hear me talking? Yes, you can. Why can Shad and Claire hear me talking? They have ears, yes, but it's not just their ears. It's because their ears are a function of something larger, the field of intelligence that's Claire, and the field of intelligence that's Shad. Now, if Shad and Claire can hear me talking as Shad and Claire, as unique expressions of the field of intelligence, could it be that the field of intelligence itself can't hear me talking? Of course not. Shad's intelligence is located in the broader field. It's inextricable from the broader field, just like we are in the physical world, inseparable from the larger field, from the cascading Higgs boson fields and all the forces, and then all of the biosphere. All of it lives in us. We're inseparable in our identity from the larger field. So too, our intelligence is inseparable from the larger field of intelligence. That's self-evident in the sciences. So if Claire can hear me talking because the intelligence, reality having a shot experience, that field of intelligence hears me, and that field of intelligence, reality having a Claire experience hears me, then obviously the larger field of intelligence hears me. That's prayer. That the larger field of intelligence hears me, the infinity of intimacy hears me. and the infinity of intimacy desires me uniquely. She's thinking about me all the time. That's prayer. That's the holy and the broken hallelujah, right? Those two pointing out instructions. Your obsession with yourself is God's obsession with you. Yes, liberate the monkey mind. Yes, identify the voices clearly, psychology and mysticism. But then embrace your unique self, which is God being you, thinking about you, obsessing about you. 1, 2, and God's holding you. You're welcome in the universe. You're being held. I'm being held in every moment. In every moment, we rest in the arms of she. Every place we fall into her hands. We're always welcome. So we're going to go into prayer. Right after prayer, we're going to read the prayers. We're going to go directly, right, to the climax of outrageous love together. So stay close. Let's stay close together. And let's do these next, 9 minutes like we've never done them before. So the holy and broken hallelujah, take us inside.
Now I've heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. But you don't really care for music, do you?
Together!
It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah.
Around the world, together!
Your faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof, her beauty and the moonlight overthrew you. She tied you to a kitchen chair, she broke your throne and she cut your hair, and from your lips she drew the hallelujah. You say I took the name in vain. I don't even know the name. But if I did, well really, what's it to you? There's a blaze of light in every word. It doesn't matter which you heard, the holy or the broken hallelujah. I did my best, it wasn't much. I couldn't feel, so I tried to touch. I've told the truth, I didn't come to fool you. And even though it all went wrong, I'll stand before the Lord of Song with nothing on my tongue but hallelujah.
So let's just spend 1 minute, okay? 60 seconds in the chat box, and let's just literally write our prayers right in the same second, okay? We're gonna write our prayers right now. And in this very second, Xochitl, thank you. Vashti, right? Timothy Paul Arye, right? Kirsten Zohar, it's so great to see you. Welcome, 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 right? Let's just, anyone, just write your prayer. I'm not gonna read them now, right? For this week because of time, and just keep writing, keep writing, keep writing. Krista Josepha, take us inside. Take us to the last step. As people are writing, take us inside. Go.
Thank you, Mark. And as we only have a few minutes, I'm going to keep it super short. And I just want to start by sharing the Zoom link in the chat box, the place where we are going right now for our special Outrageous Love Practice workshop with Claire and Shahad. Because we need the Dharma, we need to receive the transmission and the knowledge about what does it mean to be welcome in Cosmos? But actually, we also need the practice and the yoga. And in this workshop, Claire and Shahad are going to take us on a journey to practice and embody outrageous love. So find the link again in the chat box. We are meeting.
God, that's awesome. Oh my God, how privileged are we? How delighted are we? Yes.
So delighted. Exactly. So find your Zoom link in the chat box. In 3 minutes, the workshop starts. And it is an introduction to the Outrageous Love Festival, which is happening online this year, 7 days together in Outrageous Love. So go to the workshop to find out more about that. And of course, we are all invited to participate in our One Mountain Revolution right here by becoming a member, stepping in and making your contribution to this revolution. This isn't my revolution or Mark's revolution, it is ours. And we all are invited and called to take responsibility for it and to step in and to participate in it. So go to onemountainmanypaths.org/membership and you can read all about it. And it's a great way to join the community. You get access to 9 amazing courses to study together. So I invite you to join us there. Now, one more time in the chat box, the Zoom link where we are meeting all right now with our beloved Claire and Shahad for the Outrageous Love Practice workshop. Thank you so much.
Can you tell us, Krista, what time the board meeting is this coming Tuesday, in 2 days?
Yes, it's Tuesday, May 25th at 2 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay, that's fantastic. So everyone, there's a whole piece we wanted to do today, and we went so deep on so many levels that we didn't even get to this gorgeous piece, and I don't want you to miss it, right? Because it's so special and it brings together the last few weeks. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually, and again, we have to be creative. We gotta be dynamically steering. So it was like so wonderful to be together today. Shad and Claire are about to start. So Tuesday at 2 o'clock, we're gonna break the rules, right? Rules are meant to be kept and they hold structure and they're also meant to be broken. We're gonna invite everyone. Everyone in One Mountain is gonna get an invitation, right, to eavesdrop on the board meeting. And I'm gonna do at the board meeting what we were going to do, at least in part what we were gonna do this morning, but in a different context and it's a different energy. Right, Zach will be participating, Zach Stein, Dr. Stein, and then we're going to actually open up to a conversation, right, about the mission of the center and the experience, the practice and experience of feeling welcome. So it's a special one-time invitation, right, to kind of come and join us at the board meeting. And it could be that if you're inspired to step in, right, to the board and you want to participate in the deep funding of the board and in the deep projects that we're doing to actually make this revolution. So talk to Krista afterwards. So special one-time invitation. And what motivated the invitation, it was spontaneous today, right, was that I knew that I wanted to end on time and I wanted to do everything we did today. We all wanted to do. We were just ecstatic and want to give you this really special gift of an entire understanding of welcome at the next level, but in terms of science, right, in terms of interior scientists. So huge Tuesday at 2 o'clock, we're doing a special one-time One Mountain board meeting together. Oh my God, thank you for every prayer. Thank you for your presence, right? You are One Mountain, we are One Mountain, right? We're gonna do this revolution. Tears in my eyes, right? I just wanna gonna go to the chat box the last time. Who's committed? If you're committed, give us a yes. Give us a yes, right? Let's give each other a yes. Who's committed, right? Who's in, right? I'm in, right? Let's just yes. Yes, let's just feel the yes. Let's feel that yes. Let's feel that yes. Feel that yes. Right? That's the yes of the Big Bang. We are yes together. We are yesing each other. Right? Yes all the way.